On the other hand, in Bolivia, the government activated 2 orange alerts, one for possible river overflows in the department of La Paz and the other for abrupt temperature drops in 6 of the departments. According to the National Meteorology and Hydrology Service, the alerts are due to the entrance of a cold front that will cause a drop in thermometers between 9 and 12 degrees in the next few days. The meteorological agency also predicted sudden increases in water levels with possible overflows in the basins of the Beni and Desaguadero rivers. In Afghanistan, almost 50 people died because of heavy floods affecting the province of Gaur in the west of the country. The phenomenon also caused the disappearance of 10 people. As for damage to infrastructure, about 2,000 residential buildings were destroyed and another 4,000 were damaged by the natural disaster. The floods also caused the closure of the highways connecting Gaur with Kabul and Herat, as well as the roads leading to different regions of the province. Local media reported that another 7 people died in Faryab province in the north of the country. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us.
El mundo se mueve constantemente y todos los días se generan nuevos sucesos. Se mueve la geopolítica mundial. Nos preguntamos qué hay detrás de cada acontecimiento, cuáles son las consecuencias y cómo nos afectan. Ante estas preguntas, buscaremos poner el punto en la I.
Welcome back. The Israeli army assassinated a Palestinian fighter after shelling his home in the Yenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. Hundreds of people bid farewell to the remains of martyr Islam Khamenei, leader of the Yenin battalion affiliated to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The organization claimed that the fighter was killed in an overnight Israeli attack while several people were injured. Medical sources confirmed that among the wounded was a girl who suffered moderate injuries from the fragments of the bombardment and the massive explosion. The attack destroyed the house and caused damage to neighboring houses, properties, and infrastructure. On Saturday, the United Nations organization warned of the worsening crisis in the Gaza Strip following the Israeli incursion in the city of Rafah. The organization pointed out that between May 6 and the 16th, at least 640,000 people fled through the Rafah border crossing after the beginning of the Israeli military operations in the city. The UN also stressed that since then, the supplies entering the cities have been insufficient to attend the affected population and denounced that the logistical and security conditions hinder the delivery of humanitarian aid. The spokesman of the World Health Organization, Tariq Jassarevich, warned that the Gaza Strip has not received medical supplies for at least 10 days. Jassarevich warned that the Israeli occupation forces made it impossible to pass through the Rafah border crossing to Egypt, which is essential for the entry of humanitarian supplies. In this sense, the World Health Organization denounced that Israel's actions endanger the lives of the Palestinian people by not allowing the entry of supplies, water and fuel to supply the few medical centers and attend the wounded. The Israeli occupation forces committed at least 9 massacres in the Gaza Strip during the last 24 hours, resulting in the killing of at least 83 Palestinians. According to health authorities, 105 other civilians were wounded during the attacks. Medical sources confirmed that the number of Palestinians killed by Israeli attacks since October 2023 increased to 35,386. The number of wounded stood at 79,366, with the majority of the victims being women and children. Ambulances and rescue teams have not yet been able to reach many victims and corpses trapped under the rubble or scattered on the roads due to the continuation of Israeli bombardments. Among the attacks perpetrated by the Israeli forces, citizens have denounced bombardments against the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Occupation tanks shelled the entrance of one of the refugee centers in the camp and attacked citizens trying to return to their homes inside the camp, resulting in the death of at least 15 civilians and leaving dozens injured. Local authorities described the humanitarian situation inside the camp as catastrophic due to the continuous bombardments and the siege imposed on the families still inside the camp due to the shortage of basic necessities such as food, water, and medicines. We have now a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In New Caledonia, at least 6 people have died after 5 consecutive days of riots. The Gendarmerie commander reported Saturday 1 person died and 2 were injured in the north of the island. Moreover, hundreds of people are reported injured after 5 days of riots and looting. These riots, which are the most serious recorded in New Caledonia since the 1980s, were sparked by an electoral reform enacted by Paris. According to leaders of the indigenous Kanak people, this reform dilutes their influence in the territory's institutions. The riots have led the French government to decree a state of emergency in the territory and deploy over 1,000 troops. In this context, the French High Commissioner for the Archipelago, Louis Lefranc, said France has lost control over parts of New Caledonia. The official said that efforts will be made to regain control over the lost areas and to recover urban spaces. Lefranc pointed out that in 3 metropolitan areas, there are hundreds of demonstrators still standing their ground despite police pressure. Also, media reports say the main hospital in the archipelago remains inaccessible due to the clashes, which prevents the arrival of ambulances to the facility. The Russian army liberated the town of Staritsa in Kharkov region as part of its special military operation to denazify Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry reported that Ukrainian forces lost up to 150 military in the area under the responsibility of Russia's several group of forces in the past 24 hours and that the offensive continues, adding that the grouping repelled 4 counterattacks by the Ukrainian forces. The military action resulted in the destruction of numerous units of Polish and U.S. military equipment as well as others from Germany and the United Kingdom. Since February 24, 2022, according to President Putin, Russia carries out a special military operation in Ukraine aimed at protecting the population from genocide by the current Kiev authorities. The Russian government reiterated its disposition to dialogue with the West on strategic stability. Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov pointed out that these dialogues should not be held from a position of strength and self-exclusiveness, but only in terms of equal conditions and mutual respect of interests. Lavrov also considered it crucial that this dialogue should cover the whole scope of the problems existing in the world in the field of strategic stability. The 27th edition of Cuba Disco, the international music industry fair, will be held in Cuba until May 19th, with the participation of Cuban and international artists.
Sublime moments have been offered by the biggest celebration of the Cuban recording industry, with a program that has gifted us diverse musical proposals, brainstorm sessions, and the award gala for sound excellence that took place at the Martí Theater in Havana. Various artists have performed on the stage of the Avellaneda Hall of this cultural institution, such as Grupo Moncada, Orquesta Aragón, María Victoria Rodríguez, Telmo Angulo, Dilson Hernández, Colectivo Colombia, Sexteto Tabalá, La Guarachera, La Diva Kenny Mena, Muñequitos de Matanzas, Jacobo and the Colombian group, La Mamba Negra. The event's proposal also includes the Pabellon Cuba stages, the Cuba Disco 2024 International Symposium with the first line of business meeting in the Mayo Hall, and the Pergola that will host a space called Feel the Music. Later on, the central stage will host countryside musical poetry improvisers from the Saiz Brother Association, along with Colombian guests Telmo Angulo and Dilson Hernandez. The Cultural House of Alba opened its doors to the musicality of Ariel Barreiros, John Maya and his group from the Basque Country, and Ismael de la Torre, while the Theater Hall of the National Museum of Fine Arts will present Jacek Marzano and his group in the company of Sintes of Portugal and the Tempo Quintet. As a part of its journey, Cuba Disco has spread to several venues in the capital, such as the Miramar Café, the Mella Gardens, Boulevard 66, Arte Havana, and La Tropical, as well as the cultural centers in several municipalities.
Well, the National Council of Houses of Culture thanks Cuba Disco for making us participate this year in this great party of the Cuban musical records, from the communities and its system of houses of culture. We started last Sunday 12 in the House of Culture of Central Havana, Joseito Fernandez, with the usual artistic encounter of Judith Gonzalez, and we had the group Ensemble Vocal invited. We will also enjoy a nice day on Friday 17th at the Cultural Technological Center La Corbata, with the best of the amateur artist movement, and we will close with the concert of Leonel Limonta and Azúcar Negra. We also have on the 18th at the House of Culture Olga Alonso in the municipality of San Miguel del Padrón, and at the House of Culture Carlos Burboa in the municipality of Cotorro, thanks to the musical project Closer to You, artists such as Camerata Romeo. All these concerts will start at 6 p.m. Also on Saturday 18th at the Pabellon Cuba we have the Guateque Infantil, since Cuba Disco is dedicated to countryside music, and on Sunday, as the final day of Cuba Disco, we will be at the Casa de la Cultura Rita Montaner of the municipality of Guanabacoa, with the group Trio Móviles with musicians Yvette Betancourt and Mabel González.
The contest select winners in different categories such as heritage, academic, instrumental jazz, song, current dance music, fusion, urban, audiovisual, and general.
The Louvre Museum prepares for the 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games in Paris. The museum will host a major exhibition dedicated to sports and art on the occasion of the third celebration of the Olympic Games together with the Paralympic Games from April 24th to September 16th, 2024. The exhibition Olympism is a Modern Invention and Ancient Heritage is composed of 120 pieces, among which are paintings, drawings, sculptures, and goldsmiths' work. The public is invited to discover how the first modern Olympic Games were conceived at the end of the 19th century and what their iconographic sources were. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.